Well, hey everyone, and welcome to another NPE student interview. Today, I've got with me the one and only Mr. Matt Carroll. Great to have you on the call, Matt.
Thanks for having me, Rick.
Absolute pleasure. Tell the folks where your location is and the type of facility you have, your business name, and the people that you love to serve. Matt, give us the overview.
No worries. I'm in Broome, Western Australia. It's about a 3-day drive from Perth. And we were originally a CrossFit facility, but our business is basically designed around myself and my partner, who's a massage therapist and nutrition coach. So she takes care of a lot of that stuff, and I work a lot with the clients and their fitness needs and things like that. So we're mainly specialized towards the general population of local mums and dads. We've got a lot of the sort of health department and I guess you'd call them the education department up here. So a lot of teachers and nurses and things like that. That's really our main clientele. And we service about 150 people, including CrossFit kids to the adults to the health and wellness clients as well.
Nice one. And if people wanted to check it out, what's the name of the business?
You can check us out at naturaledgeperformance.com.au. So Natural Edge Performance up here in Broome at the moment.
Now, for those who don't know Australia, let alone Western Australia, I'll just fill everyone in. Broome is, one of the most popular holiday destinations for people who live in the south, which is where the bulk of the population in Western Australia is. And when you mention Broome to anyone, it's all, wow, it's pearl farms, it's camels on the beach, it's beautiful sunsets, and it's, having this holiday. But it's often very different living in these towns because of the itinerant nature of the population. So before you got into working with NPE, tell us a little bit about where the business was at and why you were looking to get support to grow and take it to the next level, Matt.
Sure. Well, one of the biggest challenges in Broome is that it is a transient tourism town. So here we're a coastal town, but imagine the population pretty much similar to like a ski town where you have 3 months where we've got a population of about 45,000, but then you've got 9 months where we have a population of about 13,000. So we'd always be faced with quite a dramatic drop and shift in numbers each year, and also just around the school terms. As soon as the school ends, like I said earlier, a lot of our clients are those teachers and things like that. They often get away. They like to escape the hot season, head back down south. So really, we're just trying to tighten up things and making sure that we're protected all year round and we're growing all year round. We're not just having those boom months and things like that.
Well, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's a fairly competitive market, even though there's a small population. It's not just you guys in the town, right? There's some competition as well.
Correct. Yeah, we've actually got quite a lot of competition up here and good competitors as well. We've got F45s. We've also got Globo gyms that offer all the Les Mills programs. There's plenty of small PTs that run from home, boot camps. So everyone doing what we're doing. There's also competitors in all our fields, whether it be the one-on-ones, small groups, the large classes, even the massage therapy. A tourism town like this, there's multiple little setups around the place.
Yeah, gotcha. So what was the reasoning or the thought process around looking at NPE? Because and I remember our early conversations there. What were you looking for, and where was the business at that point?
Well, really, like myself and my partner Marcela, we're both health specialists. We know how to look after people's needs with their own health and fitness, but we're not business people. So learning the ropes, having the structures, the systems was where we're lacking. I wouldn't say we're winging it year by year, but we were basically trying to resolve new problems each year. So we just need to get some structure, but also for me, a bit of accountability as well. I spent a lot of my time just working in the business, doing all the coaching, working with one-on-one clients, things like that, rather than being able to take a step back and actually looking at my business, seeing where it's going, how I want it to grow and things like that. So for me, reaching out to NPE I was looking for some advice and guidance that wasn't just from a company that's just going to get you 100 leads, then throw you out the door. We wanted to learn how we could actually grow this business, potentially replicate it, or sell it down the track, but have it so it's it's a smooth, safe business to sort of run and sell.
And I remember us talking earlier on that you'd had that experience of working with a company that was promising you 100 leads, and that had been a really very negative experience. So there was some trepidation about, working with another company, even though, as you know now, NPE is very, very different. But at the time, you were taking a bit of a risk with that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I jumped in with a call with you early on, and that was pretty fresh after, I'll be honest, we got pretty burnt by one of the other sort of lead generator companies out there. So my wife and partner, she was very skeptical of me sort of, signing any contracts and things like that with anyone else that's sort of offering anything like that. And to be honest, in the fitness industry, there wasn't a lot of knowledge out there when we started of, people out there that of advisors and things like that. So you definitely got to watch it in this game, because we're all traps. We're all fitness experts looking for actual business advice. So to come across someone, or basically to find someone that could actually go, well, we've been there, we know that. That was the big part for us, and actually understanding the industry, not just trying to increase sales all the time.
I'm just smiling because I remember the first call where you, myself, and Marcel was, yeah, well, I
Oh
want
yeah.
to know all about this, and she didn't quite come out and say, well, this better work, otherwise I'm going to come down and find you and chop your legs off. But it was pretty clear that it needed to work, otherwise she'd be taking measures into her own hands. But it's interesting, and it's a hats off to you, because you could have at that stage had that negative experience and then thought, oh, well, I'm done. I'm just going to have to keep figuring this out on my own. But well done on staying open to it. So you came on board. There was obviously some concerns early that it needed to be the right program, having had that bad experience. And then actually, just before we sort of move on from that, because you and Marcel being husband and wife as well as business partners, it was all encompassing, wasn't it? It was a 24/7 thing that you guys were doing, and that was part of some of the challenges, was trying to navigate roles. And tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, like you said, living together, working together full time, the conversations are whether it be at the dinner table or at 4 o'clock in the morning are about the business. So one of the big things that I was after with NPE was being the working in the business sort of character. I wanted to be able to sort of become more of the director and an active director, and relieve my wife, Marcel, from a lot of the pressures and stress she's under, where before she was in charge of all the marketing, all the creation content, all the things like that, plus doing her massage and nutrition and balancing our books, where now I've been able to at least upskill myself to a point where I can at least direct a lot of that creativity work, and she can just focus on pretty much being the financial manager and then just sort of managing her nutrition clients and things like that, which has been just a great help, because I was almost trying to catch up from what she was doing just by putting myself under pressure with creating more one-on-one jobs for myself with clients, things like that, as opposed to applying skills where an owner needs to have.
Yeah, like you said at the start, we're health and fitness experts. We're not necessarily experts at running a business, so the necessary skills. You touched on something there in terms of you guys wanting to get the right roles and you taking on more of that responsibility from a marketing standpoint. What's that been like for you, jumping into learning, crunching numbers and learning those marketing skills, having the sales system, and really just systems in general? What's that been like over the last few months?
It has been challenging. Obviously, my role in the past was very much a clock on, clock off. So I would take a class, I would finish a class, I'd take the next class, and then I'd sort of be able to wipe my hands and walk away from the day. Where now it's sort of like, okay, I'll have this project, and the project might have a 3-month goal, and I've got to, tweak it and adjust and, manipulate things along the way, plus learn new sort of skills and grind away at those sort of more challenging tasks, which I guess I honestly have just been avoiding for the past 9 years of operation.
Right. Yeah, it's comfort zone is a dangerous place to be, isn't it? Well, interesting enough, you guys came on board and then wham, COVID-19 hit the world. I mean, pretty much the worst timing for the fitness industry. Share what some of the challenges were there as that sort of potentially derailed the whole industry.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it was super scary. Like, we just kicked off with MPE. we were, you know, chipping away at what our first 90-day plan was going to look at and what we hoped to achieve in that first 3 months. And then literally before we even got into about week 3, we got forced into lockdown. And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, now what do? Your primary source of service has been taken away for you, and we needed to find ways to adapt. And I think we actually jumped in and made a few decisions before we even got a chance to properly have a chat with the groups and our group calls and things like that. But it was those group calls and those meetings each week with the coaches that just pretty much saved us, because we could make tweaks along the way and have that second voice to sort of talk things over before making any sort of rash decisions. So it was heavy. But knowing a lot of other leaders out there in the industry, or just competitors in the industry, and how much they struggled and still struggling, I was definitely grateful to be in a group where I could talk to other gym owners through NPE, deal with you guys as the coaches, and just be assured that we were not alone in this and making some decisions that were working based on what other countries had done in the past and things like that.
Yeah, that combined knowledge, and I guess this, the other countries you mentioned, the Hong Kongs, the Singapores, who were really experiencing that a couple of months before, was good to get that. So let's keep painting this picture. You've invested in a company previously, which was, you got horribly burnt, as you said, managed to just get out of that with the shirt on your back, and then you know you've needed more help and found MPE and found what you needed, and then got into it, and then the world's turned upside down because you're in lockdown. What's it been like since then? And compared to where the business was, where is the business at right now?
Well, to be honest, with MPE, especially during lockdown, it gave me the confidence to make some bigger decisions. So we use lockdown as a chance to hit the reset button. So, you know, by talking to yourself and a few of the other coaches and just going, okay, this is what we want to do, this is what we're going to be known for. How can we direct ourselves to get to that starting point? So once the lockdown lifted, we could, you know, have made that reset button and go forth with the new plan. So personally, we really took on some big challenges. We pretty much terminated every single member we had on current contracts. So we left ourselves with zero guaranteed income while in lockdown, and then had to try to pitch to all our clients and our database how we're going to go forward with things that suited not only our lifestyles, but what we stood for as a company. And that was a real gutsy decision, and it still is taking hard work to get to where we want to be in terms of statistics and numbers. But we are definitely in a much less stressed place because of making those big decisions and hitting that reset button. And when I talk about reset button, I'm talking about everything from the services we offer, the prices we offer the mat, who we're marketing ourselves to, and who we're trying to attract in the door. And now we're just more assured of ourselves. We can go after those avatars and those clientele and just be assured of ourselves.
Yeah, and from what, obviously I'm familiar with what you guys have been able to do, it's a much more streamlined model now as well, isn't it? And it's not trying to do 50 different things at once. It's very clear on who you want to work with and who you are working with. How's that affected you and Marcel and the culture of the facility as well? Because obviously you've been doing this for a long time, as you said, you know, sort of coming up into your 10th year. So how's that sort of changed things for you guys and the model itself?
Well, I reckon the biggest change is that now you know, a lot of people would have latched onto the CrossFit model in the early days, and we were one of those. And it only took us a few years to realize that we had more to offer, and our vision was slightly different to what a lot of CrossFit places are doing out there. So, you know, to go back a few steps further, we de-affiliated back in 2017, 18. And then since then, we've really been trying to get out the message of what we are, a more holistic approach. We offer different services and we do things differently. Now, with the reset button after COVID, we still had, I guess you could say, a lot of clientele that were still after that die-hard CrossFit experience, which we've really turned ourselves away from. And going forth after the lockdown, it just put us on a good path to go, we're going to advertise a certain way. We're going to approach certain clienteles and just be known for what we want to be known for. And that's been, I guess, the biggest chance to breathe for us, is not have to sort of hold on and try to tippy-toe around certain clients. Be like, this is what we do, and we do it really well, and we can offer it in this way. And that's the biggest relief. And you can just see it in ourselves, and me and Mars, in terms of how we deal with each other and what's coming up around the corner, because we have more certainty rather than just trying to grab onto any client that shows half of an interest because you have a facility.
Right. Yeah, and there'll be lots of people listening to this, nodding their heads right now, because that can be a big part of it, isn't it? You just end up trying to be all things to all people, and you're not really being truly reflective of your philosophies. And then it can feel, dirty's not the right word, but just like, how did I get here? You're serving all these people that you don't really want to. It's not really how you want to be known and how you want to deliver the service. So, but there'll be, I'm sure people listening have thought, well, yeah, I get it. And I know that that's probably what I need to do, but it's also really scary to do that too. So it's pretty impressive that you did that at a time where, the world's falling apart, quite literally, especially our industry. That must have been some sleepless nights for you guys as you were, pulling the trigger on that and taking that courageous act.
Oh yeah, no doubt. It was one of those times where you've sort of been shut down, so you got nothing anyway. So it's like, well, we might as well just go for the home run. So it was definitely some sleepless nights, definitely some heated conversations between the owners and partners. But it was one of those things that we had to nut out, and this was our chance. And we had taken our time with things in the past, and like I said, put up with clients that were just going to pay you, and then you're trying to please 6 different types of people. We were over with that. That was, I was sick of coming home in the evenings, whinging about people that were frustrating me, where now I've at least got to go, well, this is the path I've chosen because it's fulfilling for me. It's what I want to do, and that's the people I want to serve. So this is what I've chosen to do. So, now it's up to me. And, that's the biggest part. It's just like, well, you don't have to settle for second best. You don't have to just do those because that's what people are expecting. We put out the message, and we're working hard to sort of, get to flow on through the community.
Well, let's touch on that for a moment, because we have these conversations a lot, and I remember having it with you guys as well, about really needing to nail down your ideal client, your avatar, as you mentioned earlier. And for a lot of people, that's really scary as well, because it's a sort of an opposite concept. You want me to be narrower in my focus, and then it means, what if I miss out on all these other people, and what if what happens there? So what's been your experience in doing that, and what would you say to others who are going through a similar situation or wanting to?
Yeah, well, first I'll say that, like, our gym definitely at the start had 4 to 5 avatars, and we would sort of program for each different avatar on each different day to try to please everyone. And it just became really stressful and confusing, and trying to attract different types of people just wasn't a smooth process. Where by sitting down and going through, who is our ideal client, who do we want to serve, and also who is out there that we want to serve, and things like that. And just working through that process just made us go, okay, cool. If we look at the demographics of our town, look at the majority of the people that we really enjoy serving, that are my favorite clients, that's who we're going after. And by just honing in on that, it made just even the current members so much more comfortable with bringing in their friends, referring their friends to the program, because they might be a 35-year-old teacher, and they've got, well, guess what? I've got 6 work colleagues that want to come in and give this a try. And now they know that you guys are really targeting that sort of demographics. It's perfect. So it took work to really create that vision and that picture of who those ideal clients were and how we wanted to serve them. But once we went through that process, it just made the next steps even easier. Each day when we'd put out a post, it was just easy to sort of paint that picture and know that we're doing the right message.
And that's interesting that you said that as well, because now it aligns your own personal philosophies and who you want to train, which is a key part of what you just said. So no doubt it's much more fun going into work every day and helping and being around those people, because we are, right, in our industry. It's a relationship game. So you're having relationships with those
100%.
people that you want to, and not with those that you don't. So well, that's huge. So in terms of the structure of the business right now, you've obviously talked about you and Marcela and how you've morphed your roles. Who else is in the business at the moment from a team perspective?
So we've got Ryan's our, we'd call him our second in charge. he's been with us, in fact, from day one. So in some way, shape or form, for the last 9 years, he's been part of our company. He pretty much now, we've got him to a point where he's our second highest coach from me. So he does all the afternoon classes. He's now trained up through the MPE systems to take all of our sales consults. So anytime we put out an advert and we get leads that come through, he deals with them directly, and he pretty much works full-time on the business, helping us, just not just funnel clients, but also attracting the right ones. And he's got the confidence as well to be able to tell people that, well, no, this isn't for you and this is for you. So we've got Ryan on a full-time, and then we've also got 3 other part-time coaches that help us out now. So we've got one girl that's is specifically there for the kids youth program. She does all that. Then we've got another full-time personal trainer. And then we've also got another coach who's now stepped in, taking all my hours so that I can spend more time on the business.
So just pausing for a second, you jumped on with MPE, been going for about 8.5 years, 9 years at that stage. COVID hit. You did the big reset and worked through the systems and tools that we provided to really analyze what you wanted from the business for yourselves as well as your ideal clients, etc. Now you've come out the other side. You've got Ryan full-time and another full-timer, but 3 other coaches that are working on it as well. I mean, there's a lot of people who had to close or just hanging on by their fingernails at this stage, and you guys have come out the gate flying. And I'm sure the Ryans of the world are thrilled, because there's a lot of Ryans around the world in the industry that have had to have been let go. So that's awesome that you've been able to achieve what you have.
Yeah, no, that was one thing. Like our staff have been loyal to us, so we said, listen, we're going to do through COVID whatever we can to keep you on in whatever shape or form that is. And then as soon as we were even knowing that we were opening, we said to him, because he was on JobKeeper, so we had to have him on that subsidy to help us get through that time. But then as soon as the doors opened, we said, okay, you're back to full-time, 40 hours a week. And we just had to create that income for him, because he's like a third wheel of the business pretty much. So yeah, he's been great for us. But I reckon if it wasn't for some of the stuff that we had with you guys early on, in terms of being able to handball and upskill him, we wouldn't have been in that position to go, you're coming back to 40 hours, because he could basically get straight back in, deal with all those pre-consults, those consults, and just start to work full-time straight away with the tools that we'd sort of acquired over lockdown.
Well, that's an interesting one, and I wanted to dive into that, because sales is not often something that we got into the industry to do, and sometimes it's got a bit of a bad reputation. So how has that been with Ryan to get him to, first of all, go through the auto closer sales system, the sales system that we deliver here at MPE, and then what was his experience with that, and what has the results have been as well? Because it's a challenge, right, getting people to sell and to do it ethically and honestly. Just explain how that process worked.
No, it's been really good. It's not like we're out there trying to sell butcher's knives to people. It's, for Ryan and myself, we love it, because basically we get to weed people out. That's, it's an honesty policy up front. So we basically let them know, hey, this is what we offer. Is that in your budget, so to speak? And is that what you're after? And then if it's a yes, then we can go, okay, well, let's take it to the next stage where we can actually go through a consultation and really dive into how we can best help you. And then that allows us to go, okay, well, let's go through our menu of services and basically suggest what we recommend based on their requirements and how we can help them. So for myself and Ryan, it's just made things a lot more structured and easy, because we've got not only the scripts there, but also the why you're doing this with people. Then also we've got the back end of the systems and the spreadsheets where we can actually go, okay, so who did we take in this month? Who did we consult? What worked? What didn't work? Where are those people at now? Have we followed them up from week to week? And it just gives us structure. And that's the biggest thing. That's the word that we use the most in our business in terms of improvement, is the structure we've got.
Yeah. And that's awesome. And I love what you said there about you and Ryan both love the sales process, because it is great, isn't it, when you can show how professional you are, but genuinely how much you really care for people, which is part of going through that consultation is. So, yeah, that's awesome. Not clearly no one's competitive, and certainly not you or I, Matt. Do you know what your closing percentage is compared to Ryan's?
Well, I've got to admit, because he's been doing such a good job, I've pretty much turned over most of his to me. So vice like other way around. So he's pretty good at the moment. If he basically takes someone for a consult, we've almost got 100% success rate at the moment. But it's because it's been clear at the front. Like, no one's coming in for a consultation unless they want what we've got to offer. So by the time we sit down with them before they've signed anything, we know they're ready to commit to, you know, wanting to improve themselves, and we just show them the right way.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it, that he obviously over the last 14 years of MPE being in existence, you know, the very first system that we created was a sales system, and you know, our founder and owner, CEO Sean Greeley created that one, and the pre-qualification's beautiful, isn't it? Because it avoids having any of those awkward sales meetings or conversations where they don't have the money but they don't want to tell you, or it's not a good fit and they're trying to make excuses. You know, that's quite a horrible experience, isn't it? Whereas when you're upfront and honest, and it is really all about the client. So it's all about them. What do they want to achieve? What are their goals? And then you can give them what they want, which is a program to achieve that. It's a real powerful. I love that Ryan's jumped into it now, leading the charge there. That frees you up to do a lot more.
Yep. Exactly. Now I've sort of retired from that role, and I've got nothing but confidence in my staff to be able to do that. That now I can be like, okay, well, you guys are converting, so I'll just work on bringing the clients in through social media and networking and things like that.
Yeah, it's priceless. Well, I love it. Obviously, you've faced some fairly serious challenges, as we talked about, and made some considerable pivots and resets, as you explained, with the business. And now you are really clear, and it's growing and growing. What would your advice be for others who either they're starting out in the industry, or they've already got an existing business, but it's either not giving them what they want intrinsically in terms of that reward, or financially as well? What would your advice be for them?
I think the biggest thing is planning, whatever capacity that is for you. So if you're not the best marketer or the best programmer or whatever it is, you got to have plans. And, you know, without a plan, we've got nothing. So for me, even on my daily plan, if I haven't written down my agenda per hour and then set reminders in my phone for what I'm doing each hour, my plan goes out the window. So you've got to plan for things in advance. In any CI, you just got to start practicing planning. Because then you know at the end of the day or the end of the week or the month, did you stick to the plan? If not, that's generally why you didn't reach the targets, whether that be personal targets or business targets. But so for me, it's just start to learn systems and methods that just help you plan out your day, your week, and your schedules, so that you can see if you're implementing the things you're trying to get after.
Yeah, that's great advice. And there's a lot of people, and you know, I'll put my hand up for this back with my fitness business as well. Super busy all day, but then you get to the end of the day and you actually haven't done anything to drive the business forward. You've just been reactive, and it's the tail's wagging the dog, you know, because you're just getting pushed and pulled into whatever is that particular crisis or drama or issue at the time, and you can't work on what's important. So I love it. That's great advice. So planning, folks, if you didn't write that down, I encourage you to. Look, it's been an amazing journey, and I really appreciate your courage and you're stepping first into MPE, and then really doing those hard yards and asking yourself those hard questions, because sometimes it's easier just to do the work, isn't it? But stepping back and really looking at what you want to achieve, and then doing that planning and do the nitty-gritty work and reviewing the numbers, which I know you do really diligently now as well, which is great. And you know exactly.
Well, my wife doesn't.
Well, we got to give Marcela a lot of credit there, because it's been a ride you guys have gone on together, that's for sure, and it's really impressive. Come through this COVID period, now you got an even clearer model. The community knows what you do and who you want to attract, and you're just building and building and growing. What's your vision for the future, and in terms of the next, rest of this year, Matt? What sort of goals and vision do you have for Natural Edge?
Well, personally for me, it's about being able to step away from the working in process as much. So rather than being on the floor coaching, we're really trying to now get ourselves to a point where we've got the staff we want. We've now got the client avatar. We're attracting those. So now we want to start working on the staff we want to have, so that this business is running without us, so that we can really go after that lifestyle we want, where we've got a good sustainable business. We've got great staff, and we do have great staff. Now we just got to start to replicate those a bit more. So we're trying to spend the next 4 to 6 months at upskilling the current staff we have, so that we can actually also create them, not just part-time and casual roles, but get them into full 40-hour weeks where it's a career path for them, that they don't have to sort of focus on, doing part hours at cafes and things like that. We want to have, our crew that have careers in natural edge.
Gotcha. So they're bought into the vision as well. And just before we wrap up here, I wanted to ask you one more thing. Do you feel that because you've got more structure, that you're able to better communicate that to the team, and that they're more aware of what the opportunity is for them being a longer term part of the business?
Yeah, most definitely. And, I like to be very upfront with my guys and tell them that also the positions they're after, we want them to progress organically. So I never want to have someone that isn't built for a role being pushed towards something. Hence why for us, it's about, okay, if you've got the passion and the vision for what we have, then we're prepared to invest the time and skills needed to get them to where they need to be. So we've got a really good balance at the moment with our crew. They're very loyal. They're on the same page length, and they want more of what we're doing. So our job is just to keep feeding them and growing them, just like you guys have done it with us.
Yeah, well, it's super impressive. And look, considering, regardless of the whole situation that the world's in at the moment, you've had amazing growth, both personally and professionally. And to see you've done the hard work, and now it's just getting rewarded with new clients coming in. And as you said, Ryan doing all the sales, and that's fantastic, isn't it? When you walk into the business and there's people you don't know, because that's what we all want, what we need to have a bigger impact in the community, which is fantastic. And you've done all of this during arguably the worst period for the industry that the world's ever seen. So hats off to you, Matt, for doing the hard yards. Well done. And look, really appreciate your time today. I know that's going to be an inspiration for a lot of people who are thinking about what they need to do, and whether that reset is what they need to do. And for a lot, it will be, because the current model they're working is not working, or they're not in love with it anymore, or maybe they never were. So thanks so much for being so open and honest with us, and sharing those gems, those gold nuggets of wisdom. And awesome to see what you've been able to do, and I can't wait to see what you're going to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months. It's going to be very exciting.
Thanks, Rick.
Fantastic. Well, you enjoy the rest of the day, and we'll no doubt get you back on board, and people can follow up and see what you have been able to achieve in the next 4 to 6 months. So we'll do this call again.
Great. Can't wait.
All right. Good on you, Matt. Speak to you very soon.
Thanks, Rick.